Hey, what's up you guys, and welcome back to MVR. With a whole year of VR game development behind us, let's take a look at some of the best Quest 2 games you can find right now. These games include everything from shooters, puzzlers, sports games, as well as some hidden gems you shouldn't miss. So without further ado, let's jump in. Medal of Honor Above and Beyond is the first game in the series made specifically for virtual reality. The game features an 8 to 10 hour campaign, a handful of multiplayer modes, as well as a documentary-style interviews with real World War II veterans. While the campaign did have its issues at launch, the studio has done much to resolve these, and the sheer variety of experiences that you can expect in this game that feature planes, tanks, and submarines among other things is virtually unmatched by most other games. One thing to be aware of though is that the large install size of this game is nearly 40 gigabytes, so be sure to get some space ready. Now I know that I've mentioned this game quite a bit, but for good reason. Red Matter is a mystery puzzle adventure game that was released early on in the new VR renaissance, but still holds up incredibly well today. While the 4 hours that you will spend on completing the story is a relatively short amount of time for new VR titles being released these days, the game boasts some spectacular visuals and pulls off some compelling world building. Every interaction in this game, from using your hand scanner to read text, all the way to locomotion options, are designed to further immerse you in the story, which, without spoiling all too much, is pretty well written and might require a second playthrough to fully comprehend. So if you're looking for a title that can fill you with awe and wonder, or are simply looking for a good experience to ease you into VR, Red Matter comes highly recommended. If you're looking for something to blow off some steam, then Blade and Sorcery Nomad is just the thing. The medieval-styled physics-based combat is unrivaled in VR, and the level of immersion offered by the crazy amount of ways that you can interact with enemy fighters is really impressive for a mobile VR game. The frame rate can suffer a little bit at times when things get intense, but not enough to affect the gameplay. The game supports a wide array of weapons, arenas, and randomly generated dungeons. And if those aren't enough, there's also support for community-generated content and mods, which can extend the experience. Now this next experience is probably the closest thing to D&D in VR. This immersive co-op dungeon crawler by Resolution Games really seems to hit all of the right notes when it comes to replicating the fun of a tabletop experience. You can team up with up to 4 friends and pick from an array of classes to challenge the hordes of monsters, witches, and demons in one of the 3 different fantasy campaigns. This experience definitely requires a bit of a longer time commitment for each session, so it's recommended to be played seated, while each player takes their turn to roll up the dice, play their cards, and come up with their next course of action. If you enjoy D&D style experiences and are looking for something that you can play with friends while you hang out and catch up, then you'll be sure to enjoy Demio. If you're not the kind of person who enjoys multiplayer games and instead enjoys tests of courage, then check out this hidden gem called Cosmodread. It's a horror-themed survival roguelike, where you investigate a dark and creepy spaceship which is seemingly abandoned. Each run is procedurally generated while you search for clues and avoid terrible monsters. The whole experience really gave off a Dead Space vibe, which is a good thing in my opinion, and I honestly had a hard time putting it down until I completely finished it. If Nightmare Fuel isn't your thing though, you can always use this game to give friends the scare of their life. If you want to play a game where dying is expected, then check out I Expect You to Die too. This spy-themed escape room game is filled with fun and good humor. In this sequel to the wildly successful original, you'll be facing off against an evil crime empire that spans the globe. The game features 6 levels, each featuring their own story and challenges, complete with top-level voice acting by Will Wheaton, which for those Star Trek fans among you can serve as a nice little bonus. The entire experience is intended to be played seated, and unlike some of the more extreme titles on this list, is suitable for all audiences. Now this Left 4 Dead styled zombie survival game made by Vertigo Games was released close to the end of last year, but was quick to prove itself as one of those must-play experiences. The game takes place over 5 campaigns set in a frozen wasteland, with plenty of replayability options at your disposal. Work together with up to 4 players or bots to gather more loot and upgrade your arsenal. Because of the support for crossplay across all platforms, the game enjoys a large player base, meaning you'll have no problem finding other players to team up with. And jumping from one zombie game into the next, you might start noticing a pattern here. It is true that VR is getting a little bit saturated with zombie games at the moment, but that doesn't mean that these games don't offer unique experiences worth checking out. Resident Evil 4 VR is the second game in the Resident Evil series to get a VR version, but the first one to be available on Quest. The work put into transforming this game into VR is nothing short from spectacular, although it doesn't come without its flaws. Being able to handle weapons and items with your hands and manually aiming down hordes of depraved cultists is absolutely amazing. Although some sequences in the game, such as cutscenes and quick-time events, still pull you out of the VR experience by making you look at a flat screen projection for their duration. That being said though, the sheer length of this game with more than 10 hours worth of gameplay and the quality of the experience make this an absolute must-play. Now this next game is probably one of the best all-around VR games made to this date. It has smooth interactions, a distinct gritty art style, and a well-written story. One clear distinction between Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, and the previously mentioned Resident Evil 4 is that this game has been built from the start with VR in mind, which is clearly visible from the way interactions and cutscenes take place. The game has both melee and ranged combat, crafting, a hefty campaign, as well as an arena mode which can be played with friends. And last but not least, I want to quickly mention some commonly played staples of VR. Games like Beat Saber and Pistol Whip both fill the rhythm game genre in different ways. Beat Saber has been the poster boy of VR and is certainly easy to get into for new beginners, which is why it's understandably a commonly demoed game. The game features a ton of soundtracks and difficulty levels to choose from, and if you're willing to get your hands dirty, also has a pretty dedicated modding community behind it. On the other hand of the rhythm game genre, we have Pistol Whip, which has gone with the ambitious route of blending the classic rhythm game formula with shooter mechanics which come together in an extremely satisfying way that truly makes you feel like you're the next John Wick. On top of the classic arcade mode, Pistol Whip also offers a ton of custom modifiers that let you modify how you play the game or serve to assist you with mastering new tracks or moves. And since the game originally released, it has received 2 free expansion packs that added new story mode campaigns that introduced new mechanics such as dual-wielding shotguns. On the social side of things, we have Rec Room and VR Chat, both which are pretty much ecosystems in and of themselves. Rec Room is playable in both flat screen and VR modes and seems to position itself as a Roblox build-your-own-adventure style platform, while VR Chat simply goes all out and allows users to import custom models for their avatars and even offers support for full body tracking. So if you're curious about what a massive social VR environment might look like, then check these out. Anything in this list is just my personal opinion, and because the types of enjoyment that you can get from different genres of experiences, it's not been placed in any particular order. If you disagree with my picks though, that's okay, but I'd love to hear what your picks are in the comments down below. That's all for now, and as always, I will see you guys next time.